Okay, Jim Hayas is supposed to be here. Obviously, he's not. And so if he comes in, we're all going to shame. Okay.
Oh, yeah, I'll own it. Candles late night.
You did have a late night, yeah.
That is, I was just
No. Oh, here we go. Do you see my hand?
Okay,
I was Szymanski long.
all right, Jim was supposed to kind of keep order because I don't know if I can.
Okay.
But I'll
She's got a breast. She's from
Very late night. She's from California.
I know your mom.
Oh.
And she's gonna tell.
I used to hang out at the Boehner's basement every Saturday night.
Yeah.
And when I was in,
I love it.
and your mom and your dad
Yeah.
were always there.
Best friends.
I know.
Well, was I there then?
You were probably in some kind of crazy.
Maybe you were just a thought.
When you were 14.
Maybe you were just a thought.
She was in the backseat of Betty's car. We know where she was.
Yeah, she don't even want to be friends with me because my family is friends. And she was staying when she got her.
You lost control.
I bought it.
You lost control already.
All right, everybody shut up. Soon we're going to have Ken turn on the thing.
Oh, it's been on.
Ken must be real good at editing. Are you really good at editing?
No.
Oh, we're out.
Oh, look
We
at
are.
all these flashed on the wall people see years ago.
I just hope he's got that little button where you can bleep out language. That's what I was thinking.
You don't have that kind of money today, I'll be honest.
All right, we're ready.
We're ready.
All right.
Good, we get the
Okay,
so.
She's talking to me. My name is Nola Lowther. I grew up in Brunswick on 130th, if any of you have ever heard of the Benjamins. And today is August 6th, 2023, because sometimes we make tapes and they and so we always put that on. And welcome to Brunswick Area Historical Society. That's where you're at. That's where, you know, us guys are from. We're volunteers here. And if you don't know anything about it, this is Heritage Farm, and all the buildings are from the 1850s. And so there's lots of antiques and stuff if you know, want to look around sometime. And this is our newest building. This is the old school museum. And so you guys are the very first people to have any of your stuff in here.
So hopefully nobody steals it, right?
So valuable.
We don't guarantee that.
Do we have insurance?
It's old.
We do.
Oh, good, those are valuables.
So, the class of 73, did I say that?
I believe so. We have somebody walking in. Maybe it's somebody you guys know.
Another
Fred
class.
Wolk.
Oh, good.
We never saw him before in our lives.
Sit down. Sit down.
These guys wore me out. I just slept for 12 hours. Woke up.
No, we learned something today.
We hear the name
Oh, honey, we have a lot of help.
All right.
Okay, so. Okay. So this is Brunswick Area Historical Society. This is the old school museum. It's going to formally open in 2024. And so the Brunswick Area Historical Society, purely volunteer help, donations and stuff like that. And so, you know, if you feel guilty enough to open your wallets and just give Judy and I everything in the wall.
I have applications for membership. For anybody who
of a Brunswick High School student. And so there's one before you, it was on our website, did anybody watch it? Good.
So you know the question is, did you shoot?
But anyway, your tape is going to be up on the website, and then it's going to go to the YouTube channel, and so you're going to be in
Famous for the first time in my life.
and you got something to show your family at the holidays. They can drink alcohol.
I'll be charging the family to watch the movie. They will not be able to watch it for free.
So, what are we going to do here today? I don't know. Okay. So, I'm going to go to each person in turn and ask you questions. And I want you to state your name very clearly for the camera. And when we get to you. And then I'm going to ask you some questions. And if somebody wants to answer the question for you, go right ahead. If you don't think
Oh, you better open up my can.
if they're not doing a good enough job, just, chime in. Now, I'm going to give you a sample of these questions. They're pretty hard, so you might want to get your phones out in case you have to look things up. How long did you live in Brunswick? Okay. Where do you currently live? What's the best memories you had from school? What's the worst memories you had from school?
Those are easy.
Who was the best teacher and why? And what was going on in Brunswick and the world in 1972 and 73? Because we want a little context here. I mean, if you remember, were you stoned, you guys? So,
We can remember
you
Kent State shooting.
okay, hold it. Don't
She's trying to get about the answers.
Just answer our question. What did you do after you went to Brunswick High School? Let's hear some funny school stories.
Well, we got them.
What did you wear to school? We want to know, we want to hear on the tape what you guys were wearing. How cool were you?
We wore the clothes.
Wherever you were. And at the end, I want you to give us some ideas for what you'd like to see as displays. When we get rolling on the formal thing. What kinds of things would you like to see displayed? Not just your stuff, but maybe somebody else's. So, also, I want to know some things about the class of 73 that were so outstanding that you think that every Brunswick alum should know that.
But we're still very, very close.
So, Fred, are you the police guy?
Oh my God, this guy.
No, we did not tell her anything.
We did
I
not tell anything.
I was police.
Okay.
I'm not anymore.
You look like you could have been.
Oh. Yeah.
She might have arrested her.
It's that undercover.
Yeah, I did that.
That's everything because some of our class here.
What can I help you with?
So, Fred Wolk, private eye. How long did you live in Brunswick? You still living here?
I do not. I moved here in 1957 when I was 2 years old. My parents escaped Cleveland.
No.
They decided that things weren't going the way they wanted. Come on in.
Excuse me, who is it?
Cinda fucking Rella. Come on. Here, come here.
You know what they do to people who are late?
That's just what I said.
They give them an award.
She put her over here so she kind of thinks. What's that? What, you're over here?
You're going to
I'm gonna be the director.
and not in charge.
That's just like it. What are you doing?
What is police?
What are the cameras again?
story. Fred, you came here at 2 years old when you, in 1957.
That's correct. Lived on Sleepy Hollow, which was like the end of the world.
It was.
The furthest south point in the city of Brunswick was almost a township. And grew up thinking this was what the world was, and it was a wonderful childhood. We lived in a residential neighborhood, but across the street was woods for as far as you could walk or see. And we spent a lot of time out there exploring, finding buildings that were back there that nobody even knew
What was
existed.
going on in those buildings?
Oh, I don't know, but they looked pretty scary there when we went to them. And then I went to Applewood Elementary School, which we walked to school in the winter. It was cold, unlike today.
So
But
in
it
the
really
summer,
was
did you get
cold.
lost? Did you wear shoes?
And the snow was deep, if we had it. If we had shoes, we wore them. If we had feet, we used those.
Did you get a ride on the bus in the summer?
It was rough, yeah. No, we did not get nice buses, we had to walk. And then, when my life really got interesting is when they merged. Well, first of all, Brunswick was growing so fast, they had 4 elementary schools, and they couldn't fit everybody in the schools that they had, so they started to bus the single people around, meaning myself. Didn't have a sibling in school, so I went over to Housley, which is where the high school is now.
It's gonna be like,
It's gonna be gone, tearing it down. But I got to meet a whole bunch of people from Brunswick that I didn't know. They were all kids my age who didn't have siblings. So it was really cool. And then middle school is where I got to meet everybody, including Jan, who became the class mom. And she's been, I think, 5 years old. That's the type of person she is. But I met her, instantly became a friend, and then she shepherded me through life.
And she's still shepherding. And she's still shepherding.
Everybody.
Good job.
You know, everybody in this class and help everybody who is in need of help, or even if they don't need help. You'll make their life living on.
So what's one of your favorite memories of Brunswick High School?
You know, one of my favorite memories is we went. This was a huggy class, a touchy class.
so you didn't touch.
We couldn't do this stuff today. But this is a class that it was, people would just hug and hug each other. And we would, before class, we'd stand around and crisscross thing in the middle of school, a snack bar over here. And then you had the greasers, and the surfers, and the hippies, and the jocks. And we had the 4 corners staked out.
What group were you in?
You know, I looked like a surfer, but I wasn't everything.
You were not.
I wasn't a greaser, but I was friends with them, so they wouldn't kick my butt. And then I hung out with the jocks, and then we had geeks too, but you know, they didn't come and hang out. They were busy studying.
They didn't even come near us.
They were afraid of us. I'm trying to think what I would call them. We couldn't even call them rah-rahs, which are the cheerleaders, and the people who were always full of
No, she was a good
schools.
She never did anything wrong.
And
she used to go around.
So I was part of the underworld. I just kind of,
You were in the underworld.
yeah, I just sit around and do different groups.
Preparing for your.
I don't know. You know, maybe that was part of it. But I was friends with everybody.
Fred was friends with everybody.
I was friends with everybody. Never had a girlfriend.
It still doesn't.
Hung out, no, thank God. Hung out with some pretty nasty people in my class. Well, you wouldn't know what to look at them. They seemed like they were nice people. They looked like they were kids. I'm not giving up any names.
So what's a bad experience from high school?
Oh, bad experience. I had this car. It was a 69 Camaro, green, bright green. And for whatever reason, the police liked it. And I would be stopped for, oh, can I say dumb shit? For nothing, just because I was out driving. And I was, somehow, this is before the days of designated driver. I was a designated driver, because nobody else had a car. So I would take this little car and I would load it up with, I had the 2 Cavalier boys in the back of my car, if you can imagine that. They're monsters, they're huge. Randy Folkman, Mark Baylog, Dave Allman. I had all these guys in my car at the same time. And it was a lot. And we got stopped going out of Brunswick High School because we were just driving around looking for something to do. Because there wasn't diddly squat to do. We weren't old enough to drink. And we would just drive around and try to find friends. Didn't have cell phones. You just had to run into people. So we got stopped. And I don't know why. We got let go. And about 2 months later, my car was involved in a crash. They were right in the back end of me, and I took it in to get it fixed. And the guy was at the body shop calls me up and goes, "Hey, you wanna come up here and talk to me? I got something to show you in the car." And I'm like, "Oh boy!" So I go up and meet him, and he comes out. He's got a bag of weed, and he's like, "Hey, I found this under your back seat." And I knew he was in the car that night. And I thought, it got stuck in the back seat when we got stopped. And, you know, being a good Brunswick citizen like he was, he said, "No, now listen, here's what we can do." He said, "If you want to take it, you can. But if you want, I'll take it off your hand." That's all right. I think the only thing I can do is take it, give it to the police. Because I'm a good person. And he said, "Well, you can do that if you want." But
You were destined.
I was destined to do whatever the hell. I was a good kid, sort of. But anyway, I'm really late sometimes here, but I have wonderful stories to share when after you get some information. It's all true stuff.
Jan, how long would you say your name?
Jan Hovater Middleton.
Get another one.
I was married for 20 years. My parents built a house on Grafton Road. I was 7 months old when we moved to Brunswick. I lived in also fabulous neighborhood. Walked to school, Grafton Road School. I was a Grafton Road kid. And I hate to say this because some people think I had a fantasy childhood. I hate to say that. I mean, we had the people that I went to grade school with are still like my friends, which is, how do you say that? 50 years later, they're still my friends. We really did. We had a great childhood. We just met up with people on the way to school, walking to school. We had to be in by dark. We didn't have street lights. There was no street lights. We just had to be on by dark. And we'd all meet up at school. After school, we'd play basketball. We played on swings. It was a comfortable childhood. I made a joke with Doug Mitchell, who's in our class. I didn't know Doug Mitchell is Japanese. I didn't know he was Asian when we were growing up. Doug Mitchell was just like me. And I always tease him. I go, "How did I not know you were Asian?" He goes, "I don't know." He was just a kid like me, But that's how I grew up. I had a great childhood.
So, any uncomfortable memories from Brunswick schools?
Let's say uncomfortable. I was in high school and I thought I could change the whole world.
She's still there.
I'm not kidding you. I remember asking my mom, we have trash in all the hallways. It was terrible. Our high school was a hot mess. And I said, "Can I borrow your videotape? I'm going to start a campaign to clean up our school." She goes, "No, because you'll break my camera." I said, "No, I promise I won't." I broke the camera. But I still have 8mm movies of all the trash in the hallways. And I didn't get it cleaned up. I thought I could change the world. I did. I thought, oh. And we had a band come, a rock band. It was probably our sophomore year. They were awesome. So it was a fundraiser. The following year, these kids got out of class, they loved it. The following year, we thought it was the same band. It was coming back. Mr. Houston, all of us, we were so excited, all of us that worked on it. This band was not the same band. It had the same name. They were playing in this all packed auditorium, and they were swearing and saying terrible, suicidal, F this and that. And I was Mr. Houston, and he goes, who are they? I just remember I went in his office and sobbed. I was like, what have we done? He goes, it's over, they're all back in their class. And we made money. That's all. It's terrible.
Set a record for making money.
This band was during.
We did it like, oh yeah, we had a student council, we put this. It was fundraising. We had a fundraising. We didn't probably pay $1. It was something we get out of class and say, we did it. But the first year was like inspirational. They were, you know,
But not so
pro school, it was bad.
Tim Berry from Vandalia.
Currently from Vandalia, yes. My name is Tim Berry. My family moved to Brunswick from Cleveland in 1959. So we moved to a house, it was a brand new house, as I recall, about that big, on Laurel Road, which at the time was Gravel Pit Road. So we lived on Gravel Pit Road, and it was indeed the biggest pothole road. And every summer they would drive the truck down, the oil truck, and oil down the road, and it was terrible. But across the street was a giant field for blocks and blocks and blocks, and then behind that was the woods. So I consider myself so lucky to be able to grow up in that environment because we could leave in the morning in the summertime. We could leave and go out in the field or back in the woods and not come home until dark. And play back in those woods, and we had a fort back there, and there was a lone apple. I'm conjuring up one of these memories. There was a lone apple tree down there. Everybody in the neighborhood knew, hey, let's meet at the apple tree. And it was back in the woods, a lone apple tree. But it had apples on it. So obviously it was somebody's apple tree from 100 years ago. There was a log cabin, as I recall, a dilapidated thing back there in the woods. Today, I drove by there yesterday, down Laurel Road, which is beautifully paved, and it's wide, and it's all houses as far as you can see. So it's over 50 years, it's changed quite a bit. So went to Applewood Elementary School. I loved elementary school. I loved junior high. I loved high school. When I was in junior high, I got involved in wrestling. I was on the wrestling team in 7th grade with Mr. Chuck Hero, who was our coach, our first year coach. He was the 7th grade coach. I told the story last night because Chuck was at our reunion. And then we had such a good year. He was such a good coach. We had such a good team. And then when we moved to 8th grade, Coach got promoted to the 8th grade level, yeah. And we had such a good year in 8th grade. Our junior high, we kicked butt in wrestling. When we moved to 9th grade, Coach was so good, he became the varsity coach in 9th grade. And we were telling a story last night. When we were in 9th grade or so, basketball was big in the high school. And the basketball team would pack the gymnasium. And when we had a wrestling match there, in 9th grade, there would be 100, 150 people in the stands, maybe top. Yeah. By the time our senior year rolled around, we had, I don't know how many, maybe 2,000 people were watching a wrestling match our senior year, and the basketball team had maybe 100 people.
Because a lot of them went to state, and we went down to state, remember Columbus?
Yeah, we travel down to the kids, we drive down to the state tournament, because we had kids wrestling down there. I unfortunately was not good enough to, I got my butt kicked by 2 state, they were state places. I got bounced early on, so I didn't have a great wrestling career, but it was, I was one of those guys that I was involved in a lot of different things. Somebody came up to me Friday night and said, "You're Tim Berry." And I didn't know who this guy was. And he said, "I was 2 years behind you." And he said, "You were in the band." I said, "Yeah, I played trumpet in the band." He says, "Yes, you did. I played trumpet too. You were 2nd chair. I was 95th chair." A younger kid. But he said, "I remember that the band teacher, Mr. Al Sagan, who had who had been there for a number of years. He was 94 when we were there. Great band director, but he was not very happy with me because I had to be excused from band practice or something, because I had a wrestling match or something. Or I was in the choir, I was in the tea club. I did everything because I just liked to be, I was a social guy. I just like to be around people, so I tried to do everything.
Tell us a funny story about Brunswick High School.
I can tell you the funniest thing I'd ever seen was when we were juniors, finishing up our junior year, and the outgoing seniors, there was a tradition to do a school prank at the end of the year. We juniors walked into it was the last week of school, and the seniors, I think they already had their last day. And we were walking into the main entrance of the high school, and you looked up, there's a Volkswagen Beetle on top of the roof of the school. The previous night, their seniors had taken this Volkswagen Beetle apart, figured out how to get it up there and put it all back together again, and there was a Volkswagen Beetle. And I think that picture's in our yearbook.
The class is.
David Mason.
Class of 72.
1972, that was their class.
They were, the people that did it, they had a crane. They had it all planned out because they'd been watching the school for hours and stuff to know what people did, things they'd been watching. So they had the crane come in and put it up, and then they left. And they had their timing perfect because the school did never know who did it.
Yeah. I just remember the look on Mr. Gress's face.
Oh, yeah.
Because he was there.
We
Mr.
could
Gress
tell.
was he was the assistant principal, wasn't he? And he was a mean guy, I think. He was a pretty mean guy. When I looked in his eyes, and
It's on TV, if they're not dead.
I think,
Didn't say anything.
and I had seen him in 50 years, and I think he'd tell you, he said, Mr. Gress, are you a mean guy? Yeah, I'm a mean guy. Don't talk to me. I'm sure he would say something like that. So that was the funniest thing I think I'd ever seen.
That's pretty good. Norma Rydell. I can't get that last one.
Szymanski.
Szymanski, okay.
And I was Szymanski longer than I was Rydell.
Oh, I get that one.
Now you get it.
Well, Norma, I get the idea that you were kind of
Trouble.
came in and
I gave you that.
So tell us about your story.
Oh, you know, I
Where was the clothes, right?
Where would you like to begin?
Well, your mom went to Broadway.
Well, my mom and dad both went to Brunswick. Bill and Barbara Bell.
Okay.
My mom's maiden name was Dane. My mom graduated in 1953, and my dad. My Aunt Virginia graduated the year before, whatever. The pictures are up there on the wall.
I know that.
Yeah, they lived across the street from Goodyear's barn in a big house.
Yeah.
So my dad and mom both lived here. My mom became a dispatcher when my littlest brother was born. Okay, which wasn't good. Because my mom knew everything we did wrong before we got home. Everything. Everything. There was no secrets. Just so you know. You know, that's how it was. But my parents grew up here. We moved into Stanford Drive in 1956, October 56. My parents moved in. There was 4 of us in a 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom, little cottage. It was a cottage. Behind our house was a swamp in the woods. The swamp froze in the winter. We could ice skate on it. In the summer, the woods was like, we made bike trails, and we still worked on paper plates, and made stop signs, and Wade Cook set the woods on fire one summer. And I got blamed for it, and I had nothing to do with it. And my dad knew my ass for it. And there was no doubt about it. But I got the fire department and everything. We still laugh about it because I still am friends with him, and I'm like, you got me in so much trouble. And that's just growing up. But I went to Grafton with Jan, Jan was our high school, our elementary kid, always trying to save the world. Just work. She became a beautician when she was 13. Yeah, ask her who she cut hair first time. 2 weeks in the beautician school. She calls me, I pedal down on my bike, and I'm so excited. She takes me on the back porch, no hair, starts cutting my hair, cutting my hair.
Who learns how to cut hair in 2 weeks?
What does that tell you how stupid I was? Oh, I think Jim Hayas had
Thanks for stopping by.
You know, you don't want me to sit over there because I could tell stories about all these people.
That's exactly why you come over here. But the camera's here.
Sorry, I'm blocking the camera.
Next time you're supposed to give an interview, could you be on time?
So, we are deep into true confessions. And Norma has just confessed setting some woods up.
I didn't know it. Wait for me.
It's on tape.
Wait for me.
It's on tape.
Okay, this is on tape then. So Jan goes to beauty school at 13 with Pam, and they live in a smart girl. Anyway, so Jan comes home after 2 weeks of work, beauty school. She calls me up. I get on my bike. I pedal to her house. Let me come here today. Let me come here today. So she says to me, "Can I cut your hair?" All right. She takes me out her mom's back porch. No hair, no nothing. She's cutting and cutting and cutting and cutting and cutting and cutting. Jim Hayes had more hair. This is very true. And back then, I didn't get a wig, so I didn't have a boy. And I'm still friends with them. Oh, would I let her cut my hair? I dance, but I'm my hair.
I cut my hair in 2 weeks. That's fine.
Well, tell somebody they learn how to cut and ask them to come down.
That's true. But you did it.
I know, sometimes I slack her a little bit.
So, I guess that's bad story and funny story too.
It's
So
hysterical.
Let's go back, tell a good story about Brunswick schools.
I met my husband there. He's a great guy. His parents moved when he was a senior in high school in Brunswick. They moved to Geneva, and he didn't want to go. And he didn't. And he stayed with another family, graduated from Brunswick. He never wanted to go back to Italy. We're West Siders and they're East Siders. They talk about it all the time. But he was my soulmate. And that was it. We had 2 children from him, and he just passed away. So really,
He was Szymanski?
yeah. He graduated in 71. I graduated in 73. He was 2 years old.
He was known to all by Shep.
Yeah, his nickname was Shem.
Shep, everybody called him
Shem from the Three Stooges.
Shep. Like Three Stooges.
Oh.
Yeah. And then now my kids went to Brunswick, and they thought he was called Shem because of our name, our name. So that's what they told my kids. So my kids believe that they're called. My son's called Shem because of the name, not because of the Three Stooges. Because the Three Stooges went out in Europe. They were gone.
So do you still live here?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I still live in Brunswick.
Yeah.
I had 2 kids graduate from Brunswick. I was hoping to have a granddaughter graduate from Brunswick, but that didn't happen. She moved to Florida.
Okay.
I'm bummed.
So tell us what was going on in the town and the world. You were talking about this before when you were in high school.
Oh, police station? This is kind of funny. Like Fred said, we had nothing to do, so we all rode around in cars, we all had cars and stuff like that. I mean, my car was like a 68 Olds Cutlass, and had no floorboards in the back. It had 2x4s, side to side. But we all went out in it, and we didn't think nothing of it. We all
None of us had floorboards then. We lived in Cleveland, it's all, back in 20 years.
Yeah, so, we just did all that stuff. We drive around till we found somebody. Sometimes we find somebody who likes some Boone's Farm apple wine. Then we take them to Bob's Big Boy after they drank the Boone's Farm apple wine and they would eat a cherry sundae. Puke on the front step. Do you remember? I'm just saying. That was, you know, and McDonald's, I don't know.
What's going on in the town?
Oh, yeah, we were all cruising. We were cruising the town.
I have to jump in just one second. This is back in 1971, 72, 73. There was an oil embargo, if you remember, it's on the news, but there was also gas wars during that time. So we could, I remember Mark Masters since 1960, I think he was 69 from there, right now. We put, the gas was 25 cents a gallon. So we put $1, I remember one night, it was Jeff Lynch, me and Mark. We were driving around one night, and we put $1 worth of gas in, 4 gallons, and we drove all around, all night long. $1, 25 cents a gallon. Yeah,
That's cool.
But this is the funny story. So when we were younger, I was sick at school one day and I asked one of the girls, the seniors, to drive me home because I was sick. And she said she would better give her gas money. And she took $1 and I only lived from the high school to Santa Barbara. That means $1 worth of gas. And I still paid to go. Yeah, she's seen sucker.
Let's see, Debi Crowther Bolton. Hi.
Hi. Well, I came to Brunswick in 1954. My parents bought a house down the street from Jan when I was 2 months old. And so I went to Grafton Road with Jan and Nola and Debbie and Pam, and we're still all friends now. So all my good friends are lifetime friends. And so I lived there with my mom and dad, my brothers and sister, my one brother and my sister, and we had a wonderful neighborhood, a wonderful time growing up. Went out in the morning and didn't come back in until night, and we kid about that all the time. You don't come in for water, you drink out of the boat.
You really did.
Yeah, and you could come home for lunch, maybe go to the bathroom.
That was pushing.
Maybe, that was pushing it. Yeah. Dinner was at 5, and you better be there. And what else?
So what was your happy memories from high school?
Oh, well, all my friends. I was really quiet, but I had a lot of friends. So.
Very shy.
Yeah, I never said anything.
No, she never did. She's just coming out.
I did change after I started working and having kids.
That's when you started having kids?
After my kids, I could speak up. I had an Irish setter once and I took it to obedience school, and the teacher, the instructor asked me not to come back until I got some authority. Because my dog did nothing for me, but listened to the instructor, so. So I did.
So what do you remember was going on in the world back then?
In the world. Well, I remember Vietnam, I remember Kennedy's. I think I was in my own little world. Yeah, I was in my Brunswick world. And I don't even remember what was going on. Half the time I was like, whatever, just tell me where I need to be. I did not drive when I was in high school. And that's my sad story. My bad story is I took driver's ed and I couldn't wait to take driver's ed at 16, and Mr. Pirro was my driver's ed teacher. I was never allowed to sit in the driver's side of the car ever with my parents. And so I learned on the simulator, and the first time in the car with Mr. Pirro, and I had told him that I did not I didn't know how to do anything. Took me on 71. And I was scared to death, and he grabbed the wheel. And I'm like, that scared me enough. I didn't get my license till after I was 18.
What, wasn't that same guy that was in?
Chuck Carroll was, yeah, he was the driver's ed.
He was the driver's ed teacher.
Most people had, I had wrestling with these guys, that's how
Yeah.
the driver's ed.
And I-
Sometimes he should have stuck with wrestling.
Well, Mr. Beck taught me simulator stuff, and I still see him, you know, occasionally around town. So he was a real nice guy. I told him that story. Ooh.
The funny part about this, we were in the simulator, me and Billy Kid were together in the simulator, but we had Chuck as a teacher.
And I guess I don't know how it knows,
Wait, you and Billy Chicken were in the same car at the same time?
the simulator, the car simulator.
Even that's
We were in that together, me and Billy, and you know, like, it's like a road up there and you're supposed to be driving.
It's like a game.
It is like a game. It actually, and me and Billy would like, just mess around like if there's a bus coming, hit the bus! You know, we're hit the bus! Jam on the brakes, we did all this stuff. I mean, like, at the end of class, they give you this readout and it's like, guys, I'm gonna get the license. Here we go, really. But it was bad. It was hysterical though. I mean, jam on the brakes, all of a sudden, and they had a clutch and everything like back then. We'd be jumping in our mouths and Billy goes, it's time to go in reverse. This is going up 50 miles an hour.
You there.
Jenny.
I know.
I'm not sure how we knew my parents.
Make sure you see your name.
Debbie, watch George. I don't know how
I
you
hung
know
around with neighbors,
Okay.
and so they were always there.
I hope I was with them because I would have been an infant.
I'm sorry, I don't remember you.
Maybe you were just twinkling in Dad's eye.
Maybe they left me know because maybe Baylor said I was already there.
Well, the girls were already watching.
That could have been.
Right now they go to jail. They left them home alone.
They could have. No videos or
No,
anything.
there's no videos.
My parents moved to Brunswick in probably about 56. I think when everybody, the houses were all being built then. Like you said, the little cracker box houses. And so I was on around the corner from Jan, around another corner from Norma, and
A street away.
a street away from Debbie. So like I could see Debbie's house, the back of her house was in front of my house. And then Pam was just a little bit away. So it was an idealistic childhood, you know, playing outside. You go out, Mom never cared where you were because she knew you were coming home and you were safe. We were talking about, when you talk about the roads and stuff, it was, you know, the gravel and the tar. We would go out and we called them tar babies. That's probably not acceptable nowadays. But we'd go out and break the tar bubbles because it was so hot. Your feet or your shoes and we
And your mom and dad would be mad and you get in trouble.
because you might try a little bit in, but then that was like our idea of a good time. And talking about like driving, my parents had a riding mower, so I would practice driving on a lawnmower. We graduated to I had a go-kart, but we had the culverts and the thing, and I wasn't real good with braking. So she just put me down in the ditches, so I had a little more green experience.
I did drive the lawnmower.
You did?
They ran the lawn chairs over because we were trying to figure out.
We would put the insurance lawn chairs out in the front yard and try to park. My voice is going from the past 2 nights of talking and trying to park between the lawn chairs. And
She ran away.
That's fairly parking it. It's probably a good thing.
we just had to practice. We had to practice. But yeah, so us girls have been friends forever. We were in scouts together.
Lots of
Girls,
jam.
jam party.
We used to go down to Jan's house and wait for him to come home from TV school. These two.
These two.
We'd go swimming in Jan's pool.
Did she ever put your hair?
No, I
She never took my hair.
Or Every neighbor's business.
Share your phones with your neighbors, one line.
And then you knew what was going on, and you could always like to pick it up and not tell anybody where it was something. My parents would catch us saying, hang up that
And the phones rang, everybody else's phone rang in your house.
You had certain rings in your house, right?
Yeah.
Some people had like two rings, two short ones.
Thank God they got rid of them.
Everything's up old.
It does.
So what was the funny thing that happened?
In high school?
Yeah.
Well, me and my boyfriend at the time, now husband of 48 years, got caught kissing in the hallway. But this was, I think, my freshman, his sophomore year, by the assistant principal.
Who was that?
Mr. Amor, Mr. Gress. Mr. Gress, I think.
Yeah, it was Gress.
He wasn't.
He was very
Did mean guy cut your kissing?
That was called public display of affection.
We weren't like making out or anything. It was just like a kiss before class or something.
Just a little peck on the cheek.
Yeah.
Well, so what happened?
Nothing. He just broke us up.
Well, it was just a kiss.
We didn't have to broke it up. I don't even think you were supposed to hold hands. You know, I don't know.
No.
Yeah, I think he just
But weren't you the touchy-feely?
But that was probably the problem. He couldn't keep up with us.
Touchy-feely.
There was too many of us doing it.
And we were in Mr. Hayas' class together, so there's good stuff about that.
Yeah, I didn't think to say my favorite. But
Our favorite teacher
is Mr. Hayes.
by far.
By far.
Still sucking up.
We got to read your evaluations last night. Oh, what?
Your evaluations.
Oh, I did.
I don't mind my evaluation.
He kept their evaluations that they wrote when they evaluated the teacher.
And I told him he was a hell of a good person. She just wanted to hear that.
She wrote that.
Who wrote the best one then?
Well, I heard there were 120 of them.
So
I was just overwhelmed by them. I could probably talk for hours just about those evaluations.
But the real question is, did you do it again next year?
I did. But I put a few more restrictions on them, guidelines.
No swearing. So did you do it every year you time?
Well, I actually only taught 3 years because after 3 years, they
Made you
asked me to be the
They promoted you. They promoted you. You would have liked to
I
get
guess,
what
I
about
guess people think that, but I don't know. It's just, I don't want to jump in my
It was your evaluation or something?
Well, evaluations, I was a relatively new teacher, and I didn't know if I was doing a good job or a bad job. I just didn't know. I thought I was doing a good job. So
And you didn't find out until 50 years later?
He still doesn't know.
I know now because later in my career I was evaluating teachers, and I saw how good teachers could really be, and I'd like to think I would have gotten better. I should apologize. Actually, seriously, I should apologize a little bit because I didn't do as well as I should have when you guys were in my class. But anyway, the evaluations, they were basically 2 parts. I asked them to evaluate the English part, what they thought they learned about English and literature and grammar, and then the second part was that I asked them to write a little bit about how they thought I had done as a teacher and what I could do better. And I learned as much as probably I taught just from reading those things. And they were very honest because I indicated you don't have to put your name on it if you don't feel comfortable putting your name on it. But most kids felt confident enough they could put their name on it. And the ones that really weren't so complimentary, they put their name on it.
I can't believe some of the stuff.
I'll never see that guy again.
Just so you know, in 1974, my sister Kathy got pregnant, and he was her teacher, right? I think her principal, you were assistant principal. She was pregnant, and they threw her out of school. Okay, because back then it was taboo, let's be honest. Jim Hayas went to my sister's apartment there 3 days a week to help her with her work, and so she could graduate.
Wow.
And someone said that she wasn't going to be able to walk with the class, and my father said, oh, she will walk with the class, and she did.
Aw.
And we, with the respect my family has for him, is wonderful, because you don't see that in teachers now. I mean, they don't go that extra mile. He didn't have to go over there 3 times a week. He didn't have to help her, but he did.
I want him to get on the tape with his name and his position here, because he was late and didn't get to do that.
Well,
He's coming to around.
I'll take a little time.
Oh, okay.
I just wanted to put that in there because that's something you don't hear about.
That's true.
You hear about the bad teachers.
I guess it's my turn. Okay, my name's Pam. I was a Ventura and I'm a Weber.
I'm sorry, I gotta guess.
What?
Kathy and Marie,
We weren't related.
you weren't sure.
But everybody thought we were because it was an unusual name, I guess. But we were late comers to Brunswick. I think we moved here in like 62. So, we were. And I started 3rd grade at Grafton Road and quickly bonded and we were together throughout our lives. And loved just every bit of my high school experience, every bit of school. Probably could have done a little better on the school part of it, but the socials part of it. And probably one of my things that I remember so much about our youth that brought us all together was pajama parties. We had pajama parties every week. And I'm telling you, it got so good, she had bands of hers. And there would be 15, 20 girls, and just all night long, we'd never sleep. This was when mine and Jan's friendship turned special because I had to be her protector because she wanted to go sleep at 8 o'clock, and everything. She was always
People would take lipstick or marker.
And I had garters.
And don't let them write on me.
I quickly bonded with her to take care of her, and we were always like that. We were Norma and all those guys. They taught us to fold paper houses, and that was a big thing when we were kids.
We were good.
And honestly, me and Jan would be like trying not to get out of the car. She'd be like, just get over there and get this done. We were scared over the wires, and she'd be so good, and we'd be so scared. But we would do it until you heard.
I think I was pretty two shoes.
She was, but we were more so than everybody.
She let us do the dirty work.
Yeah.
And then she just watched. I'm watching to make sure. She's probably a police officer.
We were never there because my parents would never let me go anywhere. That's why I never knew what was going on.
Well, we told paper
They told
constantly.
We liked.
Yeah, and this is a funny thing because years later, my father passed away, which that's so funny, but it happened. And they came to toilet paper my mom's house that night, and the whole house was toilet paper. And my mom's neighbors are like, I have never seen this in my whole life. So the family members, my mom was standing there, you don't understand, this is love. This is love. And it was hanging off all the trees.
And you had willow trees.
Yeah, we did.
We did it all.
And she loved it. We loved it.
Make it fun.
Yeah, so it was always throughout our lives and stuff like that. We had
And your mom for school system.
Yes, she did. My mom was protected her forever and loved it. And we used to have to eat school lunch food all the time. She said, bring it home after that. That wasn't a good memory. But back then they could buy anything for a quarter, so she'd say, I cooked that. I know it's good food. Jan got me involved in everything you can imagine in high school. She would just come and say, guess what, we're going to be track dads. I go, what is that? And everything. And we honestly would stay at the school night and day. There wasn't anything we didn't do, anything we were involved in. And I'm so grateful for her and that she brought that out of me because honestly, we just loved it. Mr. Houston, we would sit in his office for hours and we'd be like, people would be coming in and we're like, wow.
And we had, it was a junior-senior prom at the time, so the juniors put on the prom for the seniors. And like, everybody got tired and they left. And I remember Pam and I, and honest to God, we were sobbing, and it was passport to Paris. I said,
We've been taking sponges and making bricks. We were
we were crying because we had to get this done by the next day. I go, where did everyone go? She goes, they went home to get ready for trial. we were there crying, we had these walls, and I go, I just can't believe everyone left. It was,
We worked hard, but it was wonderful.
So, just so you know, though, Pam no longer lives in Long Island. She moved to Kentucky to get away from Canada.
But
Volunteering for alumni and things like that.
it's never changed. They've been to my house, and I come here all the time. I love, even just coming for this weekend. So excited to be in Brunswick. I mean, they're my old favorite places. I go every time, and I love Brunswick. Don't name Mr. Heroes. We'll get a little way over. So anyhow, it's been a cherished part of my life. So.
And who are you?
Hi, I'm Dawn Roth Resar. My husband Mike. I was a wallflower. I was a very quiet girl, not a great student, stayed out of trouble. I knew who to go to if I was in trouble, Norma. I don't know why, but she took to me when we were in high school. She would tell me, don't let them push you around, call me. So I felt she was a lifelong. I lived here since 55. My parents built a house off of 130th on Crestview Drive. Went to Crestview School. We were the first class in that school. I loved that school. My mom volunteered all the time. Would walk all the way to the school. She never drove, ever. And so a lot of people had memories. A lot of people still ask me, you know, when did your mom go? And I said, both my parents are gone, but he did everything for my sister and I. It was just the two of us. And she's 7 years older.
your mom saved everything from
Yeah.
your school years.
Yeah, she did. She saved every picture we took at Crestview. I mean, and they actually have pictures of the school being built because of my mother. She would walk up to the school like every 2 or 3 days and take pictures of the construction. I don't know why. I have no idea. She was just that kind of woman. And middle school, I will not even discuss middle school, it was horrible. And high school, I was really, I just did what I had to do, went home on the bus every day. I missed
So what was going on in Brunswick, in the world?
It wasn't a quiet area, it was peaceful, there wasn't, I don't remember killings or shootings or everybody knew everybody, everybody helped everybody. I mean, if somebody was sick, somebody brought dinners, I mean, everybody helped everybody. It was a nice, peaceful area. I mean, we were being on Crestview, we were farther from being the center of Brunswick. So we were like the kids on our street. You all played together, you all got along, or you didn't have anybody to play with. And there were apple orchards at the end of our street, and there now is a big, huge subdivision. And we played in there, and you went home, Mom would throw peanut butter and jelly sandwich or a bologna sandwich at you, and you'd go right back out. Or you worked in everybody's gardens too, and shared those gardens. I remember selling green beans in a bag, stuff in a bag, going around the neighbors, 50 cents for a bag of green beans, It was a nice, quiet childhood.
And you still live in Brunswick?
We're back, we live in Valley City, we're right on the cusp. Mike and I got married in '76, and we moved 6 months later to Texas, and then went to Michigan. Came back here in this area for a little while, and then ended up in Lima. And we moved back when Mike retired.
So you two were in the same class?
Mhm.
Not bad.
Did not date, was in the homeroom, grade school together. Didn't date till the last 2 months of high school.
Yeah, her girlfriends didn't even.
I'm sorry, as a senior, I still rode the bus. which was
It was absolutely unheard of.
yeah, you know, you kind of hid yourself as you walked down the bus because you were a senior. And I had two best girlfriends, Diane Gablak and Debi Crowther Bolton already. And they were in English class with him, and they get to say, hey, you work at the gas station at the corner, can't you drive the poor girl home? You know, she's on the bus, come on. And he said, okay. And he drove me home 3 weeks. 3 weeks, and every day I would get home and the phone would ring and it'd be one of the two girls going, did he ask you out yet? Did he ask you out? I go, no guys, he just likes driving me home. That's it. He doesn't like me. And then one day he asked me out. And I called them. Yep, and we've been together ever since.
And tell them why didn't you go to your senior prom?
We had just started dating.
And
we were riding in the car and I said, so, I had actually had a cousin take my girlfriend Diane Gablak because she wanted to go so badly. The rest of us didn't understand that because that wasn't our thing. And I said to him, yeah, cousin Jeff's gonna take Diane. What a fool. And Diane was a fool for letting me look that up. And he goes, you didn't really want to go, did you? And I went, no. He goes, it's kind of expensive. And I said, yeah, that's no problem. But in my heart I was going, we should have went. I could have paid for part of it. I could have left that alone. But moving back in the last 2 years, these guys have been my lifeline. Because when I came back, I thought I'll reconnect with my girlfriends. And unfortunately, most of them died. And I remember calling Jan, crying and saying, this isn't how it was supposed to be. And she said, don't worry, and when they come and just get your coat out, we're going out. And before I knew it, I was with all these girls, and we went to Jan's granddaughter's play.
Yeah.
Had candy cigarettes in her mouth. The girl didn't look at us the rest of the night. In fact, when we went to Applebee's and she came in, she turned from us.
And she didn't even know us.
Yeah.
It's going to the Hall of Fame, Brunswick Hall of Fame.
Yeah. And I've had, and my family even says, I have a much bigger smile now.
I thought it was me on that. I'm Mike Resar. We're actually the outliers in the group. We have never lived in Brunswick. We both live in Hinckley. I actually lived right across the street from Benjamin Farms on Babcock, off 130th. Yeah, we had, in 1962, we moved way out in the country to Hinckley. My folks were there for, I guess about 40 years. They finally moved into Brunswick. Like Don said, we moved around the country a lot. One of the funny stories, I'll start with that, is a funny story that I had is senior year, I finally got around to taking a required course called chemistry. Mr. Biggs taught it. And by the end of the year, I said, God, I'm glad I'm done with this. I am never going to use any of this crap again the rest of my life. And shortly thereafter, I went to work for a company called Amoco Chemicals. And I spent the last 50 years working in the chemical business. Most of my life, revolved around cars at that time. And that actually was a lot of fun, and it was also a lot of trouble for me because, I had a Galaxy 500 XL that had a police interceptor engine, automatic on the floor, bucket seats, all that kind of stuff. And one of the times it got me in trouble, everybody's talking about Mr. Gress. I had a buddy, Jeff Pitts, who happened to live next door to Mr. Gress. And somehow the night we graduated, we ended up with a trainload of cars, and we all decided to take a break past Mr. Gress's house. And we got down to the end of the cul-de-sac and made a turn and started to come out, and the police car was sitting there then waiting for us with the lights flashing. had a little discussion, kind of broke up and went different directions.
And as a good girl sitting in the back seat between the guys, she's like, my mother's gonna kill me. She's not gonna let me take him anymore.
But yeah, that was most of my life back then. Fast cars, working on cars, and that kind of thing.
His dad worked for the sheriff's department.
Yeah, actually, Don Moody reminded me last night that my dad actually got on the job. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So yeah, he worked with the special, with the sheriff's department as a special deputy. And I think that's where I started getting involved. I started realizing the value of getting involved with community figures. He did police work, and he also ran what they called at that time junior deputies, or kids who were interested in going to law enforcement. So over the years, I've been involved with the junior deputies and law enforcement explorers, and I've gotten involved with things like planning commissions and zoning boards of appeal, and I've been Optimist Club. I was the president of Optimist Club and Chamber of Commerce of 20 cities we live in. The job ended up taking me around the country. I got involved in a lot of different parts of the country and world.
So, Mike, we're signing, Judy and I are signing you up.
She's already tried that, yeah.
I already got her.
Unfortunately, I retired. She's supposed to be back to work again.
And he's got two sister wives.
I've got my sister wife, yeah.
He's gotta take care of us because our husbands are deceased and we have no one to do electrical.
We've been married 47 years, so I thought I could share all that.
I mean, if it can be a program on TV, why can't it be a program in Brunswick? Think about it.
Sam, we're really happy for back. We're 8 minutes from our daughter. And our grandkids go to Brunswick High School.
I know graduating.
They get a little embarrassed when I wear my shirt a lot when I don't pick them up, but
Well, the neat thing is, like I said, the job took me around the country, and both the kids were born in Texas. Both of them graduated from high school in Michigan. But my daughter saw fit after she graduated from college and moved back, and she lives in Brunswick. So now her grandkids are going to Brunswick schools.
she's very involved in the schools. Yeah.
The grandkids are involved with orchestra and choir, so not quite the athletics group like I would have loved to push my grandson. He still loves being in the orchestra.
Wow, thanks, Mike. Now, you gotta come up here, and I'm gonna move back, so you can.
Good right here.
So, we got a shot.
Can you get it? Can you get it? What is it, that your good side? Is that your good side?
I don't have any sign. Cindy Szymanski Berberich moved to Brunswick in 1963 from the Slavic village, little Polish girl, and went to school at Crestview in Brunswick. I live 2 houses away from Crestview. We still have the house there. And my grandchildren go to Crestview. My grandkids graduated from Brunswick High School, the ones that did, and then my children graduated from Brunswick High School also. And same story, different day maybe, different time. Met these girls in more middle school because they were Grafton Road, we were Crestview. But it's the same. It's the same. We had a lot of fun, clean, good fun.
What's your favorite memory from high school?
Well, Cam and I nailing shorthand. We were shorthand class together. We should have quit that too.
Shorthand was.
Well, the teacher kept telling us we were gonna wake up one day and say, I know shorthand. I go, Cindy, this is the last week of school that we got to go.
That was horrible.
But it was fun.
Same thing. Aren't we wedding party? This is the wedding party for Debbie.
We were all, everybody was there pretty together.
Yeah.
This was your wedding?
Not at first.
Cindy, Pam, Debbie, and Jan were in my wedding.
Oh, wow.
And we were in Jan's wedding.
I was in your wedding, we just reminded me of it.
And deja vu, we sat next to each other at graduation, just like this.
And Nolan was always on my right side in government class, Mr. Lebo.
Happy hand.
It was good. Did a lot of toilet papering, a lot of egg throwing. Drove cars, drove them apart,
We've been through that.
had fun till they dropped, and I had to get rid of them. We got done with them. Football games, floats.
Oh my God, the floats were fun too.
Yeah, close my phone.
So from all of you, you can just shout it out. What's the class of 73? What do you want all these young kids to know?
They gotta change this world.
Have
I don't
fun.
know what they're missing. Stick by your friends.
Yeah.
Keep up with your friends. Put your phone down.
Don't worry if
They don't know how to
I'm a
operate
Republican or a
their
Democrat, if I'm a Catholic or a Jew. Some of your business, it does not none of our business when your kids are being on yours. Should have nothing to do with what you decide.
Yeah, what else do you want to know? Fred, what do you...
We were all innocent.
Jumped through
We didn't do it.
I don't want to joke to say that after I spoke about earlier, but we were. I mean, we were innocent creatures. And we ended up in this place called Brunswick, in these little schools that were around the periphery. And gradually we all got melded together in the middle school, and it just seemed so natural. And then we got to high school, and it just carried. I told you in the beginning, this was a loving, hugging class. Everybody just cared for each other. And there were public displays of affection. Like, I got my arm around me, and I feel normal doing that because I've always been that way. I think Debi Watt and I might have been in class.
Big homeroom.
Oh, you want homeroom?
Well, yeah, W's too. I was always last in line, and we had all the W's in class. But I went to the Ohio Senate, the House, or whatever the capital is. And we all rode down on a bus, and we were walking through the Capitol building, and this woman said to me, I have never seen a group of children like this before. You are all so caring for each other. We were holding hands. We're like, eighth grade.
They're 18.
Yeah, we're 18, but
We're all
still,
babysitting.
we were all just that close to each other. Like siblings.
They put handcuffs on us.
I don't remember much competition. Yeah, there was some nonsense later on in high school, but I think there was just a lot of love. And I don't know how you recapture that innocence that we had. But I don't know, not there, but I just don't feel it's there anymore. And as kids get to high school, you're just inundated with so much.
That's a great message.
You wanted to
One
finish
thing
this?
I wanted to mention, one thing you asked and popped into my head, what was going on back in 1971, 72, when we were in high school. It was our first Earth Day, 1971, I think. Earth Day. And so we were all environmentally
Yeah.
aware, becoming aware environmentally, you know, the Brian Indian thing. And if you drove around Brunswick in 1969 or 68 or down Laurel Road, there was big garbage bags, trash bags, etc. All that changed while we were in high school. Because all of a sudden the streets kind of got picked up and people thought twice about throwing a cup out the window. Back in the late 60s, 1970, people didn't think twice about throwing a bag or a cup out the window, right? I mean, a soda can, beer can. That all started in 1971. I remember in English class we had some kind of project about Earth Day, and it's April 22nd. We had a project that we had to do an art or a poem or something like that. I'm not a poet, I didn't think, but I remember the project that I did, and that had a little bit of an impact on me.
We had to talk about if we got deposits back.
Well, yeah, you needed 2 cents for a pop bottle.
And when we needed gas money, we go looking for it.
That's true.
You don't go down the road and find them. You got a case of pop bottles, and that was 24, 48 cents.
When the gas.
That was 2 gallons of gas.
I didn't mention that I still live in Brunswick. I have never left. So I've been here forever. My kids graduated from Brunswick. My grandkids have all graduated from Brunswick and have gone on. And I love it here. Never going anywhere.
Not even to Oklahoma.
I will visit Oklahoma.
If you would have wanted to see something very, very special, last night we had our reunion, and we talked about how close we've all become. The kids nowadays don't have that.
Right.
We were, I thought, a huge class at 300 something. I mean, now it's, triple. But last night, nobody wanted to leave. Everybody was just hugging each other and holding on each other, and some of us said things to other people we've never, like, oh my God, you? Oh, I remember you, and then you turn around and look in the yearbook. Or the tags help because the pictures were on them.
It's a sad fact that you don't realize the best times of your life until you get older and have to look back at them. And sometimes you can't relive those. You can't go back and be with those friends and family members again. And that's something kids nowadays do. I wish I knew.
This is exactly why we're doing it. This is the Historical Society is, these lived experiences. Really NPR story for, and you're in history now. You're going to be
Yes.
We want Father Jim here to say.
Father Jim.
Bless his father. I would look because I didn't have him for anything.
Well, this is why.
Now he's gonna.
I don't know. I have a hard time sometimes talking about Brunswick. Because it's a special place. I need to shoot yours. I need to lighten up. You all had Mr. Gress story. Well, my first year teaching, Mr. Gress was the assistant principal, and maybe you were in the class, but we had done the lesson that was complete, and there was, I don't know, maybe 10 minutes left in the class, and so I let the class go down to the commons, the senior commons, and I went down to the athletic office because I was a coach, and I went down to the athletic office, and I was down there kind of shooting the ball with some coaches that were there and teachers, and all of a sudden, Mr. Gress walks in, and he says, don't you have a class right now? Don't you have an English class right now? I said, yeah, I do. Well, where are they? They're in the commons. Are they supposed to be in your classroom? Yes. Then go get them and get the class. So he even wrote me in a couple times.
You got detention for that?
No, but I think I got a verbal reprimand.
Gonna go on your permanent record.
You'll never get a job.
When I retired, I checked to see my permanent record. Fred, it was a special place. In my mind, it's still a special place. My family moved here in 1957, and one of the things you asked was what was going on in Brunswick. Well, at that point in time, as we all know, Brunswick was exploding as far as the population, and I went to 3 different schools in 3 consecutive years because they kept rearranging and redistricting to make sure they could fit the kids that were coming into the buildings that they had. So one year, I think I started in 2nd grade here. We moved from Hinkley. And the first year I went to Applewood School. The 2nd year I got moved over to Graduate Road School. And then I think the 3rd year I actually had class at the Old Town Hall. That's how fast it was growing. We had classes in Town Hall. So, and I grew up, the stories that they told about what was happening when they were growing up in Brunswick, that story could be told thousands of times because we didn't think, at the time, we didn't think there was anything special about Brunswick. But the stuff that we did together was special. I mean, there wasn't a theater here, there wasn't a bowling alley, but there was
a writing.
Yeah, Yeah, there was a drive-in. Probably got in trouble with it.
But I'm gonna tell you this because when I was in Grafton Road, and it was 4th grade, we had too many 4th graders at Grafton. So I volunteered to go to Crush Street for 1 whole year. And I don't know the reason I volunteered is because I got to be late for school. It was further away from my house and my parents wouldn't know. And I got to ride the bus. And that's why I went there. But then I went back. I did.
That's cool. What year was that?
4th grade. I raised my hand. I sat right. I was like, I volunteer. I volunteer. I wasn't even your mom's house. My parents, I didn't know I volunteered. But I did it because it was, Brunswick was growing by leaps and bounds.
It was. And, you know, you talked about, maybe you talked, I didn't hear, unfortunately, I got here a little late. I would love to hear what these 3 folks have to say.
We have to wait for the movie.
But, you know, things were different then. People touched on it, you could be close to the students and be comfortable. And nowadays, you know, teachers really can't.
They can't be teachers.
They can't show any personal interest in the student because someone's going to draw a bad conclusion from that. But so I think part of that is lost. But I'll tell you how comfortable we were, even as teachers. We built a house in Valley City, and the only reason we built there, in hindsight, we wish we would have stayed here. But my father had a 100-acre farm. He was split it off into lots, and he gave us a lot. So we had a financial advantage of moving. And actually, second part of my thinking was that, you know, I had just then become an assistant principal, and I kind of worried about my kids coming to school and eventually being a principal there. That might have been a problem. But anyway, so we built my dad and I and my father-in-law, who was a mason contractor, and my brother, who was a pipe fitter. We built the house. We built our own house. We built it that summer. I had just left the classroom. I had just become an assistant principal. I was finishing graduate work at the University of Akron, and we had just had a child. And we built this house when all this was going on. But anyway, it took me a long time to get into it. This is how different it was. You mentioned driver's ed. Chuck Reisman was the driver's ed teacher at that time, and I had coached with him. He was a friend of mine, and we were putting our cross beam across our basement foundation, which was a 42-foot steel beam, and it was delivered. And I was telling Chuck Reisman about it. I was saying it's going to be really, I don't know how we're going to set that beam. It's just my dad and me and my brother. He said, "Don't worry, I'll be there." He came out in the driver's ed car with the kids that were driver's ed. And we set that beam, and you know, I think about it, if that beam would have caught me with a fingers or something. But we just, we didn't think twice about it. You know, we just did it. We could never do that today. If any teacher did that while I was a superintendent, they would have been in my office. I would have probably had to write them up, cross my fingers, and tell them how wrong it was. That was another thing I learned as I got older. You know, a lot of times teachers or principals or whoever, I would oftentimes see them downgrading a student for something or talking about a student for something, and sometimes they forget that everybody is carrying something inside them. You know, I mean, you don't know on that day why that student did something stupid. And I don't know, I don't even know why I'm rambling here.
It's like that. No, because it's like a learning thing with us. You know what I mean? Like, as we're growing up, we were learning, but nowadays, these teachers have they can't discipline these kids, they can't. My son graduated in 1995 from Brunswick High School, okay? He, on the last day of senior day, he loaded up his Ford Falcon with water balloons, filled with water balloons, baskets, just baskets. And he was in the parking lot throwing them as they were driving out and, everything like that. Lenny Bowman, the police officer, gets him, nails him. So I have to go up there and get him and stuff. And Lenny says, he's going to do so many hours of community service and this and that. I go, no, he's not. I go, you let those kids smoke weed in the back parking lot. You let them drink in the back parking lot. You let them do that. I go throwing water balloons, having fun. You don't let these kids have any fun anymore. Water balloons didn't hurt anybody. They're bouncing off your car windshield. They made a big deal out of this whole thing. They were all in cars. They went crazy. I mean, it was bad. And I feel sorry because I kept telling my kids high school was my best time. The funnest, the best, everything.
Well, you guys got the message across for future generations in school. What's the best time? And thank you for your